Alright, man, welcome back to another SunnyV2 reaction. Today we got the stupidest criminals of all time. Like always, we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to get right into this one, man. Make sure I'm around 1080. Alright,
In
let's go.
2009, Matthew McNally and Joey Miller robbed a home in Iowa using masks drawn onto their faces with permanent black marker.
Homie, what? Yo, what? We're 7 seconds in and I'm already mind blown. Bro, what?
Faces with permanent black marker. Whilst on the run, the two discovered that permanent black marker doesn't rub off easily, leading to their simple arrest and embarrassingly stupid mugshots. However, these two still look like geniuses in comparison to some of the other idiots we'll be talking about as we discuss the stupidest criminals of all time. Take for example MacArthur Wheeler, who robbed 2 banks in broad daylight as he thought that pouring lemon juice on his face would make him invisible to cameras. When shown the bank surveillance footage, Wheeler refused to believe that he was visible, stating to officers, "But I wore the juice," believing that as long as he didn't come near a heat source, he should have been
wore the juice. More like he's on the fucking juice, son. What the hell?
being completely invisible.
Homie.
Police concluded the Wheeler was not crazy or on drugs, just incredibly mistaken, with the lemon juice mistake
No, he's definitely on drugs.
eventually costing Wheeler a
You don't just accidentally believe that lemon juice turns you invisible and happen to not be on drugs. You're definitely on drugs. If that happens, there's no world.
24.5-year prison sentence. However, if we're on the topic of terrible disguises, then we can't go past Dennis Hawkins, whose disguise as an old lady wasn't much better. His sweater accompanied fake boobs, a full beard, and fittingly clown pants, with this insanely recognizable outfit helping police to catch Hawkins only an hour after the robbery. The police chief for the area stated, "He would get my nomination for dumbest criminal, I think. You still have his black facial hair with a blondish wig. Definitely different." Different is also a good way to describe Patrick McGuire's disguise, who robbed an Illinois convenience store while covering his face with a clear plastic bag.
Okay,
he was only able to obtain $60 from the robbery. However, due to
homie, what?
$60 from the robbery. However, due to his extensive criminal history, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the stunt, meaning that he had to spend 1 year in prison for every $4 stolen from the store.
That's
Talk about
egregious.
a bad return.
Yeah,
equally bad was Paul Sinclair.
Oh my god, this guy's a weirdo.
Who attempted to rob a bank in Florida by using his fingers curled up into a gun shape.
Yo,
the quote-unquote weapon was so non-threatening that the bank teller gave him only $120, after which he'd flee on foot before being caught by police.
Yo, what? Yo. She gave him pity money, bruh? She gave him a pity $120. She said, "You know what? Honestly, you can just have this. The cops are already on their way."
After which he'd flee on foot.
Bruh, she probably gave him money out of her wallet, son.
Before being caught by police only 10 minutes later. Then there was James Blankenship, who thought that robbery was legal as long as he did it at a certain time of day. Back in 2013, Blankenship broke into his own mother's home, after which the police were called, who would take to their Facebook page later that day to explain what had happened. He fled the scene upon seeing his mother. The male
Burglary in progress. The client reported descending the stairs. She witnessed her 23-year-old son, who had been banned from the home about 3 months, entering through the front window where he removed the screen. Fled this scene of the mother, belonging to the mail, checking the area, suspect from the area. We witnessed mail run by the home. The mail was located on the house heading. In the cross base, he had taken the custody of wow. Okay.
was located under the house, hiding in a
Bozo,
crawl space.
robbing your own
When
mom?
advised of his charges, he made the statement, "I thought you could only be charged with burglary if you break in during the night time." Blankenship was given 180 days in jail and ordered to pay a $100 fine, yet this wasn't the only time when a person was dumb enough to think that a law didn't apply to them. Because when Reuben Pavin was caught stealing from a charity thrift shop in New Hampshire, he'd state that he thought everything was free because of the name of the business, Finders Keepers. The sign did say Finders Keepers.
Bro, what?
So I took that DVD player, took it home, Pavin told the local TV station. A couple of weeks later, the stuff is still there on the porch, so I'm thinking to myself, Finders Keepers. They probably just put stuff out there for people to take.
What? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of my life.
The business responded via Facebook stating, "This man who was caught on video is saying it is all a misunderstanding. He thought everything at our store was free. Is that really the best defense you could come up with?" After which Pavin reportedly turned in the stolen goods to police, holding that he's not a bad person or a bad dad, and is rather just unbelievably stupid.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know why, but I kind of believe him. Like, if you're that much of a bozo, I could kind of see how that could be the case. Where you're just like, dude, it says finders keepers. The stuff's been on the porch forever. I thought people could just take it. Like,
but was he as dumb as Derek
Yo.
Mosley, who in 2013 attempted to rob a store named Discount Gun Sales by using a baseball
a
bat?
gun
When
shop with a bat, bro. What are you thinking?
Mosley allegedly barged into Discount Gun Sales and smashed a display counter with his baseball bat, the store manager simply pulled out his own personal firearm and pointed it straight at the would-be robber.
What are you expecting, bro? What are you expecting?
Holding Mosley
Such
in
a
the store until he was
bozo.
arrested and charged with
You're like, what
first-degree
the hell?
robbery. A similar story then came out of Texas in July 2022
Where the
when
knife
a
tries to
gun
rob
store
a
was
gun
robbed at knife point,
Like,
although
why?
this tale instead ended in a body bag as the robber was fatally shot by the store owner as he tried to exit with his loot. But
Oh, monkas.
2022, when a gun store was robbed at knife point.
What are you
although this
doing
tale
trying to rob a
instead
gun
ended
store
in
with a
body
melee
bag, as the
weapon,
robber
though?
was
Like,
fatally shot by the
that's
store
just-
owner as he tried to
that's
exit
the
with his
dumbest
loot.
thing I've ever heard in
But
my
what
life.
happens when you accidentally call 911 whilst committing a crime?
How does that
Pocket-dialing
even
the police
happen?
is probably a fairly common occurrence. However, for Carson
Never
Reinhardt
happened.
and Nathan Tekla-Merriam, it happened at the most
guys look
unfortunate
like
moment,
weirdos.
specifically while they were breaking into a car. The alert dispatcher soon realized that the call was an accidental one, and moreover that the guys on the other end might be up to no good. For the next 35 minutes, the dispatcher stayed on the
Gather
line,
information.
listening and gathering information, as Tekla-Merriam and Reinhardt did the following. Discovered a car that they thought they could burglarize, discussed how to break into the car, allegedly broke into the car, exclaimed
So they did everything. They did everything,
in
essentially.
delight over finding narcotics
While-
in the
while
car,
on the
became
phone with
confused
the-
as to how or
an
why
officer.
a police car was following them, and reacted in disbelief when the arresting officer revealed that they'd been on the line to 911 the entire time.
Nice
Scott
one,
Simon found
bozos,
himself
nice
in a
one.
similar situation, although under much more severe circumstances. Whilst on trial for murder in 2015,
Ooh.
Scott was successfully sentenced to life in prison, as 2 years prior he'd pocket-dialed the police while admitting to a friend that he was the one who committed the crime.
Bro,
He had
what?
no
How does
idea
that
he
even
called
happen?
911. A sheriff's office spokeswoman told the Miami Herald. He basically told on himself, as did Albert Bailey, although in a much stupider way. Bailey had planned on robbing a bank in
Bro,
Fairfield,
how do you accidentally call the cops? It's so wild.
Connecticut, although rather than exercising the element of surprise, he'd call the bank prior to the robbery stating, "I want $100,000 in large bills and no die packs. I'll be sending someone into the bank to get the money. Don't call the police, we are monitoring the police scan."
Yo, what? What kind of... Oh, yeah, don't call the police. We're monitoring the police. Like, what do you... Dude, your ideas...
Prior to making this phone call, Bailey had already served 7 years in prison for a previous bank robbery. However, this new plan was equally ineffective, as
Yeah, dude,
after
like,
arriving
what?
at the bank to collect his cash, Bailey was locked inside, arrested, and sentenced to another 9 years in prison.
Like, what are you thinking? You're just gonna call him beforehand and be like, by the way, here in about an hour, I'm gonna be showing up to rob the bank. Like, you're just letting him set up.
Although, if he wanted to
God,
avoid
some
this
people.
time behind bars, he
Oh
could have
my
had
God,
a chat with
tweakers.
Tito and Amanda Watts, who got arrested in Florida for selling tickets to enter heaven at a price of $100. Tito Watts said in his police
definitely
statement, "I
tweakers.
don't care what the police say. The tickets are solid gold, and it was Jesus who gave them to me behind the KFC."
Yeah, they're definitely tweakers. Yeah, they're made of solid gold, bro. Look at the chip in the wood right there. Look, it just wrote on it. Ooh, a Sharpie.
For selling tickets to enter heaven
Ah,
at a
they're
price of
tweaking,
$100.
son.
Tito Watts said in his police statement, "I don't care what the police say. The tickets are solid gold, and it was Jesus who gave them to me behind the KFC and said."
right then, when you're saying that out of your mouth, how do you not realize, like, it was Jesus who gave them to me behind the KFC, bro? Like, I don't know
to
what to
sell
tell
them
you.
so I could get me some money to go to outer space.
Yeah.
You should arrest Jesus because
I met an alien named Stevie who said if I got the cash together, he'd take me and my wife on his flying saucer to his planet that's made entirely of drugs. You should arrest Jesus because he's the one that gave me the golden tickets and said to sell them. I'm willing to wear a wire and set Jesus up. Yo, what? Dude, you need to to lay off the sauce, son.
Because he's the one who gave me the golden tickets and said to sell them. I'm willing to wear a wire and set Jesus up. The couple had apparently earned over $10,000 from the stunt, meaning that they were able to
Bro, what? No. They did not make 10 grand from selling pieces of fucking wood. There's no way.
earned over
That's gonna piss
$10,000 from
me
the
off.
stunt, meaning that they were able to find people even dumber than them. One of
Tweet.
which might have been Ruben Zarate. While attempting to rob a muffler shop in 2008,
muffler
Zarate was
shop?
told that the shop couldn't access the money safe without their manager, who didn't begin his shift until later that afternoon. Instead of bailing on the robbery, Zarate instead gave them his phone number, asking them to
Bro, what?
give him a ring the next time the manager was in.
Dude, some
they
people
did so
are just-
later that afternoon, although after
Yeah, when the
returning to the
cops were there.
store, Zarate received no money and was instead met by police and charged with aggravated
Yeah,
robbery. Then there was the
obviously.
man who gave the
That's
people
so
he was robbing
obvious.
something even stupider. The
Okay.
unnamed robber walked into a London bank carrying a gun and a bag, which he'd take to the front desk before demanding £700,000 in cash from the bank worker. But after making his demands, the crook
So,
handed
like-
over his gun to the cashier.
Wait, what? Wait, he handed over the gun? Hello? Dude, how fucked up are you? And why, like, I hate when they go into, like, I need this exact amount. It's like, bro, what are you doing? They're gonna be wasting so much time back there just counting. Just grab it all. Like, what? Bro,
Instead
there's
of
no
the
way
bag.
you gave over
Mans,
your
the
gun.
crook, handed over his gun to the cashier instead of the bag. Investigating authorities stated, the guess is that he is very inexperienced and panicked when he approached the cashier, handing over his gun instead of a bag by mistake.
Yeah, he's also
But it was
fucking
Trevor Jones who
hella
left
high
an
on
even
drugs.
more damning piece of evidence at his crime scene. After
Okay.
breaking into a house in Atlanta, Jones took a moment to check his Facebook on the owner's computer before leaving without logging out.
Yeah,
Less than
bro,
3 years
what?
later, a similar story entered news headlines, reading a 26-year-old Minnesota man has been tracked down by police after leaving his Facebook profile logged in at a house he allegedly robbed,
Oh my
although
God,
this
you
story
guys
has
are
a much
bozos.
funnier ending. The homeowner decided to message the robber via his Facebook, stating, "You left a few things at my house last night, how can I get them back to you?" Which was followed by the robber agreeing to come back to the home so he could collect the stuff he forgot.
Yeah, they
However,
just
the
set him
robber
up with
didn't
the
get
cops at
any
that
of his
point, right?
items back and was instead arrested while still wearing a watch that he'd stolen from the night before.
You're
While both of
such a
these idiots
bozo.
used social media poorly, at least they didn't brag about the robbery in a YouTube video, as is what happened in the bizarre case of Hannah Sabata. In 2012, at the age of
What?
19, Sabata stole $6,000 from a bank in Nebraska, and while almost anybody else would have simply kept quiet, Hannah instead took to her YouTube channel Jelly Beanie to upload a video
I just
titled
stole a car and robbed a bank. Now I'm rich. I can pay off my college fund. Bro, what?
Chick Bank Robber, in which she'd straight up admit to having just committed a robbery. She'd then discuss her entire methodology for the crime while showing the money and the amount that had been stolen before
You're such an idiot.
concluding the video by describing the vehicle she had used and that it had its license plates removed.
Bro, you
This information eventually resulted in Hannah Sabata
okay, see, like, why are you you deserve to go to jail. You just piss me off with that fucking face right there. How you're smiling, you're like, yeah, I got caught. Like, I
arrest
hate
and
you.
sentencing of 10 to
I
20
hate you
years
so much.
prison, done so in a public courtroom filled to maximum capacity with people who had seen the video. Just 2 years prior to this, 21-year-old Frank Singleton was being released from Palm
Alright,
Beach
huh?
County Jail, having just served time for a trespassing charge. The only
Okay.
issue was he didn't have a car to leave the jail, so he
he
decided
stole
to
one.
steal one from the visitor's
Dude,
parking lot,
yeah,
yet the
what
car
are
he
you
decided
thinking?
to steal was a manual, and he could only drive auto. Singleton sat in the
Yo, no shot, bro. What?
Yet the car he decided to steal was a manual, and he could only drive auto. Singleton sat in the car looking like an idiot before being arrested and sentenced to a further 6 years in
Dude, what
prison,
are you
telling
thinking?
deputies that he tried to take the car because he didn't feel like walking to his home about 6 miles away. And while you may be sat here
That's a great excuse.
thinking that these criminals can't get any dumber, it's time to introduce 53-year-old Michael Anthony
Okay, this is about to be the dumbest criminal of all time right here.
Fuller. While it's common knowledge that the US banknote doesn't go any higher than $100, Fuller had the genius idea to create a counterfeit $1 million note before trying to use it at his local Walmart.
What?
He loaded his cart with a vacuum cleaner, a microwave, and various other items totaling $472 before handing the $1 million note to the cashier, expecting $999,528 in change. Needless
Yeah, I'm sure they have that right there in the cashier. Let me just fucking get that right out of the
to
cashier.
say, Walmart wasn't able to facilitate this, and instead store staff called police. Fuller was later charged with attempting to obtain property by false pretense and uttering a forged instrument.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, all of those guys were the fucking. Wow, that's I'm still kind of low-key kind of stun-locked by what the fuck I just watched. Wow, okay. Bunch of absolute fucking bozos. Hey, make sure to go subscribe to SunnyV2 if you haven't already, yeah?